Hi, my name is Claudia Ugbana. I am a journalism and promotional communications student here at CSU. Thank you very much for coming in to answer some of these questions that the students have.
Claudia, my pleasure. I'm Jonathan Wehner. I am Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Success and Dean of Admissions.
So one of the very first questions we have is, what are some of the major changes that we're going to see to our main services on campus, such as Campus 411, tutoring services, the bookstore, internship, and communications experiences?
One of the things I think that you're going to see in terms of changes to some of those services is many of them are likely to have some restrictions on the availability of walk-up services. So it may be that you need to make an appointment in advance. But for the most part, we anticipate being able to deliver almost all of those services successfully remotely, as we have been. So 411 is a great example where many students may be used to walking up to the 411 counter. So while counter operations will be closed for Campus 411, there'll still be an opportunity to work with Campus 411 via email, via telephone, via the chat service on csuohio.edu. So you'll still have an opportunity to work with 411 in that fashion. Tutoring also, again, another great example. Tutoring will move to remote this fall. So what that'll mean is it'll be Zoom, right? Where I think we're all getting very used to Zoom at this point. And so tutoring will be an example of something that'll be delivered remotely. Internships and opportunities related to those, they're going to probably vary by area. So career services is still available, and all of the services that career services has always provided will continue to be available remotely. There'll be opportunities to make appointments with the career service specialists, opportunities to do resume review. We've seen a ton of interest from companies that are interested in doing resume boot camps with students, so all those services will still be available. But we may see a change, obviously, in the format in which they're delivered. A lot more of them, maybe less walking into the office and a lot more signing up to get access to those resources remotely or online.
Will any services be closed or unavailable? Can you tell me a little bit more about operating hours?
So there may be some services that are closed or unavailable, including some of the dining spots on campus that we might normally be used to may not be available. And you may see reduced hours for some of the services that are available. What I can say is for most of the offices that are going to be delivering their services remotely, you should see similar operating hours to those that were available when we were on campus. So again, Campus 411 is a great example. The 411 specialists will continue to be available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., just not for walk-up. Instead, they'll be available email, telephone, and chat in that way as well. So we may see some shifting in hours. I think there are likely to be some less late night hours than we might be used to, as the campus gets a little quieter in the evening and we're looking to reduce the overall campus footprint. Some services may have slightly abbreviated hours in the evenings.
Some students cannot afford textbooks and they use rented textbooks from the library. Is OpenStax still available to those students?
So we anticipate that library operations will resume shortly, and OpenStax should be available along with the e-textbooks that have been available to students. So absolutely, the library is one of those that may have somewhat different operating hours from a normal semester, particularly the later evening hours, but we anticipate that those should be available. Yeah.
To follow up on that, will there be a wider selection of online books since more classes are being offered remotely?
One of the things that I've seen through the spring and now that we've gone through a complete summer semester online is many faculty in delivering their courses remotely have shifted to using some more online teaching resources that may be available at low or no cost to students. So whether that's supplemental video instruction or other online resources. So we're optimistic that faculty will continue that trend and use resources that are available and also are really convenient to access when you're in an online learning environment and do a great job of kind of supplementing the instruction that they're giving in that online environment.
Do you think that students will have any issues completing internships, practicals, student teaching, with many businesses practically closed down?
it's going to be interesting to see, right? And so some of the things that we know, in working, for example, with nursing students that do clinicals or education students that do student teaching, a fair amount of it will depend on the availability, whether the hospitals are open, whether they're fully serving folks, whether they're allowing nursing students to participate in clinicals. We have positive news, I think, when it comes to clinicals. When it comes to student teaching, it may look different, right? As we know, particularly within Cuyahoga County, most of the schools and school districts are either going fully remote for this fall semester or opting for a hybrid model. So it may end up looking a little bit different for what those student engaged learning experiences may be. But what I can say is we're working closely with all of our partners to try and make sure that students have access to that. So I think there are still some unknowns because for many of the school districts in the area, there continue to be some unknowns. For many of the hospitals in the area, for many of the businesses in the area, there continue to be some unknowns. But I can say the deans across all of the colleges and schools are working very, very hard to make sure that, particularly for those students where that internship, that practicum, that co-op is really one of their required graduation requirements, that we're able to deliver on that. One of the other things we know is some accrediting bodies are likely to be more flexible than they have been based on kind of, if it's not possible for students to get student teaching experience, then that may be a standard that we can't hold them to entirely. And so what some flexibility might be. We're lucky that many of our academic leaders across campus hold leadership positions in kind of the statewide or even national accrediting bodies for the different professional organizations, and so they can have some influence on if there's going to be adjustments to what some of those requirements might look like.
Is CSU looking into any partnership with community employers to ensure that student graduates are hands-on with experiences?
Absolutely. I mean, that's always one of the goals of our career services division is building partnerships. And most of the career service specialists, and this happens behind the scenes to students, but most of them, in addition to spending a significant portion of time dealing one-on-one with students or putting on programming to help students, whether that's through My Majors, determine what their strengths, how their strengths and interests might align to a potential major, whether that's doing, resume work or interview work. One of the other things that the career service specialists are always doing is going out in the community and meeting with businesses, looking to enhance our existing relationships with businesses and also develop new relationships. So that's continued, even as we've been working remotely. Now, more of those visits are obviously remote as opposed to in-person visits, which used to happen much more often. But that work continues. So we're heavily invested in continuing to develop partnerships. Every week, I think I see new partnership opportunities come across my desk, and know that our career services folks are working to actively partner with those businesses in the local community.
Do you think changes to curriculum, shadowing opportunity, co-ops and other things will affect the likelihood of students being able to find employment once they graduate?
Obviously, those things are always advantages to students in terms for looking for employment in the future. But I think what we should keep in mind is, in some ways, those same things are impacting students at every college and university in the United States right now in some way or another. And so I don't think that students will be disadvantaged compared to their peers that will be kind of moving into the workforce over the next 12 to 18 months, because again, that's kind of the same experience that almost all college students are having right now. So it's certainly disappointing to think that our students might not get that experience. That's why we're working hard to really try and make sure, even if it's an internship where you're doing a lot of work remote, that it's still a positive internship. So I don't think that students will be disadvantaged. It's more our focus at CSU is figuring out how we can continue to offer those opportunities so students continue to be advantaged by them. But I don't think students will be disadvantaged.
To follow up on that, is CSU helping with job replacement opportunities?
Absolutely. So I always encourage every student to work with the career services folks. They are a fantastic resource that we have available. So log on to the career services website. They have obviously the job listings both for student employment on campus and internship opportunities and post graduate opportunities for students as well. So I was just just talking with an alum this week, and even as an alum, she was still working with Career Services doing resume critique and prepping for interviews. So Career Services is a fantastic opportunity. I encourage all students to take advantage of the resources that are available at Career Services. And one of the things I always say is Career Services is a place that you should visit in your first year on campus, not waiting until your last year on campus, right? Start thinking about what your career trajectory might be as a freshman, your first semester or your first year on campus. Don't wait until your last year and then you say, oh no, what am I going to do? You know, take your full time here on campus and work with Career Services throughout that entire time. So that way they're helping you think about student employment on campus. They're helping you think about an internship opportunity, you know, maybe in your junior, senior year, and then they're helping you think about what your job opportunities are going to be after you graduate, and you've built that relationship over the course of 4 years.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in and answering these questions.
Thanks, Claudia. Great questions.